Hello there, 10th graders. This is Teacher Krishna, and welcome to our class for physics on week number 21. Today, we are going to be completing a worksheet that you have to upload later on to Google Classroom. All the information that you need is found here. But of course, if you have any questions, you can always contact me in Google Classroom. So first of all, we find a small space here for your general information. Please type down your full name, today's date, your code, and do not write anything on Discord. That's a space specifically for the teacher. What's the end in mind for today? Students will be able to apply physics principles and solving problem processes in real small experiments that they have to come up with. And here you have, this is the worksheet for week number 21, and let's take a look at the instructions that you need to follow today. So, number one, come up with 3 mini experiments that include physics principles of the following topics. So, here you have the list of topics that you need to include in your report. You need to include a mini experiment for velocity, a mini experiment for acceleration, and a mini experiment for free fall motion. So in total, you need to include 3 mini experiments, all right? Let's continue. Number 2, include formulas, mathematical procedures, and analysis of results in each one of them. This is extremely important. So in each one of your experiments, you need to include these 3 things: formulas, mathematical procedures, and of course, analysis of results. Take it into account since that is going to be part of the things I'm going to be evaluating today. Number 3, include pictures in your final report. So just like always, whenever you are coming up with some mini experiments at home, I always need to make sure that you actually did them. So make sure you include some pictures of the mini experiments that you conducted at home. Lastly, when you are done, upload it to Google Classroom. So it's something very simple that you need to do today. So, for example, when we talk about velocity, what experiment can I conduct related to velocity? So I would like to talk about like an average velocity in a specific object. So what I'm going to use for my experiment are going to be some marbles. And I'm going to be taking into account different places with different distances. So let's say that in try number 1, I'm going to be rolling the marble in the space of 1 meter, for example. Then in my second try, I'm going to be rolling the marble in a space that has a total amount of 5 meters. And lastly, I'm going to roll the marble in a different space that has an amount of 3 meters. Of course, while I'm doing this experiment, I need to be taking notes of all of the distance that it has covered, and of course, in how much time it has covered that specific distance. So in order to find the average velocity, it will be very simple. So basically, average velocity will equal distance divided by time. So I'm going to sum up all of the values of the distance that I have. For example, the first one was 1 meters, the second one was 5 meters, and the last one was 3 meters. And then I'm going to divide that specific value by the amount of time that it used in each one of them. So let's suppose that I have 1 second, 3 seconds, and 2 seconds. Of course, it will be more precise if you have a stopwatch with you. So then you do the math from that specific problem, and then you are going to get a result like, I found out that in the average velocity for the marble covering this specific amount of space was, I don't know, let's say 10, or let's say 5 meters per second. I don't know. Of course, you will have to make the experiment yourselves. So as you can see, it doesn't really have to be something very, very elaborated. But what I'm looking for is that you include, one more time, the formulas, the mathematical procedures, and of course, the analysis that you had. And the example that I was giving you, an analysis that you can do is that, well, I found out that the marble was covering different distances in different time, but in this case, since we are talking about average velocity, we are making an average out of all of the time that it spent and the amount of space that it covered. All right, so you can do something similar with acceleration, and of course, something else that's similar with free fall motion. So keep in mind that today we are not having a Zoom session, so you are going to have some extra time to complete everything that you have here in this worksheet. So I was telling you, it's something very simple. It's just a matter of following some instructions. If you have any questions, I am in Google Classroom to respond to your doubts. So wish you the best of luck, guys, and I will be meeting you next week. Goodbye.